So now I'm just going to run through the evaluation for each fitness test. So first up, I've got the 1 minute press up test for muscular endurance. So as we can see from the graph, the client's result of 29 reps is 5 reps below the excellent rating when compared with all the normative data for the test. So this is a really good benchmark already of muscular endurance, but it can be improved to be even better because the highest levels of muscular endurance promote the best chance at muscle toning, and also promotes weight loss as muscle burns more calories than fat, so it gives the client the best chance at reaching their goals. So my recommendations for this is high rep, low weight resistance training and also functional training. So we're going to do 4 sets of the following workout, and this workout will be done twice weekly paired with the other recommendations I'm giving for the other tests. So 15 reps of a front barbell squat with a tempo hold at the bottom of the squat for 3 seconds. Also, the high reps and lower weight, so we're looking at about between 30 and 50 kilograms for, obviously, this is tailored to the client. If he weighed less and was shorter, it would be a lower weight range. But this just promotes muscular endurance. And also 20 press ups, hold the isometric contraction at the bottom of the last 5 reps. So again, this works muscular endurance as it's really stressing those muscle groups for a short period of time. 20 reps of wall balls, preferably with a 7 to 9 kilogram wall ball. 12 renegade rows with about between 10 and 12 kilogram dumbbells. And then 10 pull-ups, and these can be done with a resistance band as well if needed, if they can't do full reps for that long. So these body weight and weighted movements will isolate specific muscle groups, and all these movements target full body when paired together in a workout. And then higher rep and low weight creates intensity and endurance. So rather than stressing a muscle group maximally for a shorter amount of time, it's sort of a less intensity but prolonged, which obviously then promotes muscular endurance. And then we're looking at upping the score for the 1 minute press up test by 5 reps in 4 weeks to reach that excellent rating. And I'm sure that with this recommendation, they will be able to do that. And then also recovery nutrition, aiming for 180 grams of protein intake daily, as that's 1 gram per kg of the client's body weight, and he weighs 90 kilograms. This aids optimal muscle building, so this all helps reach the client's goals. And also, as well as muscle building, it's repairing those muscle fibers and allowing them to grow whilst resting. And then we've got the recommendations for the Stork balance test for balance. So as we can see on the graph here, the client's score is above the poor rating, which is a bonus, but it's well under average score and really not very measured well against the normative data. So the good and excellent, as you can see, excellent is about over 20 seconds higher. So that's a negative. So there's room for improvement here. So by doing a 15-minute yoga flow every other morning, this will really help increase the client's balance. And this will happen as balance develops from yoga movements. So it's not just holding positions, it's the movements and the transitions and alignment that come with yoga, as well as sort of learning to breathe through yoga as well. It sort of gives oxygen, breathing efficiently gives oxygen directly to those muscles, allowing them to be held in positions for a longer time. So balance will also increase isometric strength and core strength, meaning that the client will have a better sort of base of support and know how to align their body, which also promotes muscular endurance as well. And also as well as flexibility, which also increases their range of motion. So these are all suited to their goals. And then these 15-minute yoga flow, the The poses / movements that I want him to include would be the tree pose, downward dog, and down dog, lunge, warrior flow. So we've got a mixture of held poses and also flow movements for that transition and alignment. So next we've got flexibility. So as we can see from the graph, the client's score is above the average score and the poor score, but still it could be improved by between 4 and 6 centimetres to reach the good rating, and possibly even more to get excellent. As you can see, it's quite below these two. This will aid the client as increased flexibility, like I said before, with balance also will improve range of motion, and of course a better improved range of motion increases their ability to exercise sort of in any way, shape or form, whether that's cardiovascular or resistance training, to reach their goals. So I would want the client to implement daily stretches for about 10, not even very long at all, for about 10 minutes maximum as soon as they wake up in the morning, which reduces likelihood of injury also, and of course additional stretches post and pre-workout, which also dramatically reduces likelihood of injury. To improve back flexibility specifically, because like he said before, he has pain in his back, and also leg flexibility, as that promotes recovery and also maximizes performance during aerobic performance. So for all of these, I'd want him to do a 40 seconds standing hamstring stretch on each leg, 10 cat-cow back stretches, and 40 seconds lunging hip flexor stretch on each leg also. And then repeat all of these twice. So like I said, it's not very long at all. And then also, as a recommendation for recovery, for the client to bathe in Epsom salts 3 times weekly. So that's adding Epsom salts. They can be sold anywhere. You can get them on Amazon or at a local chemist, and just put them in the bath and they dissolve, and it just aids muscle recovery and flushes lactic acid and reduces likelihood of cramps. So these all are in line with the client's goals, as stretching to improve them flexibility improves their range of motion, his ability to optimally perform and reach his goals of losing fat and building muscle. Also, as well as reducing likelihood of injury, which in any consultation and fitness plan is super important, as if their body is not yet adapted to a different workout regime, the likelihood of injury can be increased, but implementing these recommendations can reduce that. And then for the vertical jump test, as we can see on the graph, the rating of the client's score is not poor, it's above the poor rating. However, there is a large difference between the client's score and even just the average norms, let alone the good and excellent norms. So good levels of power will increase speed and anaerobic efficiency, and then anaerobic activity is a really efficient way of burning fat, which is ideal for reaching the client's goals. So power is super important to these recommendations. So in order to improve power, I'm looking at doing some plyometric based workouts twice weekly, along with maximal resistance training. So that's different to the first recommendation. So this is instead high weight, low rep. So we're looking at things sort of plyometrics, 4 sets of 20 box jumps, 4 sets of 20 squat jumps, 5 sets of 6 sumo deadlifts at 70% of the client's 1 rep max, 4 sets of 15 plyo push-ups, 5 sets of 6 chest press at, again, 70% of the client's 1 rep max, and complete this 3 times weekly, absolute maximum. So that can be between 1 and 3 times a week, along with all the other recommendations, of course. And also by ensuring protein intake and recovery regime is intact and optimal to support muscle repair for optimal performance, because of course muscle is actually built during recovery. So by ensuring all these things are in place, it will be using the workout recommendations and the recovery alongside, as it's just as important to build their muscle as well. So this is all in line with the client's goals of muscle building and also, like I said, anaerobic efficiency for fat burn. For the 30-meter sprint test, the clients, as we can see, the client's sprint time is over excellent for their age range when compared with the normative data. This is really good because good anaerobic capability and levels of speed are essential to maintaining optimal performance because, like I said, anaerobic exercise is one of the most efficient methods for fat loss. It's really suited to this client's goals. Also, speed and anaerobic exercise builds muscle as it's using the short twitch fibers. So it's really working those muscle groups, like I said, high intensity for a lessened period of time. So in order to increase, even though this result is really good, there's always room for improvement. So in order to increase it even more, we're looking at HIIT training 4 times weekly. So that's high intensity interval training. So 40 minutes long for a full session, but 15 to 20 minutes when done alongside resistance or functional training sessions. So this can be done after the weights session or the functional training session, of course, as well. So we're looking at 5 exercises, 45 seconds of work with 15 seconds of rest, and then 1 minute rest after each round. And we're looking about between 4 and 5 rounds. So we're looking at shuttle sprints, assault bike, sled push, devil's press with dumbbells, and a barbell push press. So here we've got all anaerobic, but here this is more cardiovascular anaerobic on these 3 and the devil's press, and then sled push and barbell push press is more strength anaerobic. So it's all anaerobic but sort of working different muscle groups and different components in fitness, which is really good for an all-round muscle building, fat burning workout. So really suited to the client's goals. And then lastly, we've got the 12-minute Cooper run for aerobic capacity. So as we can see on the graph, again, their aerobic capacity and their speed are 2 of their greatest strengths. So the client has an excellent VO2 max value for their age range when compared with the normative data, as you can see. It's above the excellent rating. This is really good because efficient aerobic capacity allows the client to perform maximally for longer and execute strenuous cardiovascular regime to reach the client goals, which is fat loss and muscle building. Recommendations are for clients to maintain this VO2 max and anaerobic/aerobic capabilities and even increase them, which would be really good as well. So we're looking at 2 singular runs a week between 6 and 12 kilometers. That's about 65% intensity. So this is at an aerobic intensity. Alongside this, so the 2 runs will just be a session in themselves. Adding a mile warm up to the beginning of a resistance or HIIT training session at 80% effort. So this is again speed training. Aiming to continue to build their VO2 max, which aids their aerobic efficiency and of course in turn aids fat loss and longevity of life, as well as their respiratory efficiency, which is also really, really important in sort of maintaining an exercise regime. This, of course, then suits the client's goals of fat loss and increasing their overall fitness levels. Another recommendation would be maybe cutting down on alcohol consumption, perhaps starting with 3 drinks a week at first and gradually lowering that, replacing these with water to aid aerobic training and the salts lost, which also then, of course, in turn aids recovery and sort of goes alongside the bathing in Epsom salts as well and the protein intake. All of this recovery is just as important for the exercise recommendations as they go hand in hand for the client to be able to reach their goals. But overall, the aerobic capacity levels for the client is already really good, but we're looking at maintaining that and possibly making it even better for really efficient fat loss. Here's my bibliography. Thank you for listening.